Hola, this is Tania again, and this is the Organic Chemistry Lab. So here we're going to talk about special things that we work with at the Organic Chemistry Lab. So first, in this lab, we're going to learn about techniques that we're going to be using to do organic chemistry synthesis. And in these techniques and in the procedures in general, we have a number of substances, particularly solvents, that may be flammable, volatile, and even toxic. You cannot inhale those, or it may be even toxic if they get in contact with your skin. So because of that, we need to be extra careful when we're working at the lab. So first thing about flammable. Flames are not allowed in the organic chemistry lab except when your instructor explicitly says so. There's a couple of instances that we do use it, but other than that, flames are not allowed in the lab, and we close the gas for that, the lines of gas. So the gas is not going to be available in the lab. Okay, as I said before, flames are not allowed in the organic chemistry lab except if your instructor allows it. So here we have the gas shut-off valve. This right here allows us to close the gas. So when this is perpendicular to the pipe, this is closed. So your instructor will open only when it is in particular experiment, when this is allowed. So most times this will be closed. So this is where we do it. The other thing is that, as I said, many solvents are toxic, and besides they're volatile, so they're harmful to you. And this is why I'm standing right here. These are ventilated enclosures. So you need to work at all times under this. This have a suction mechanism that takes all of these toxic gases away from you. And we need to turn those, the hoods. When we come into the lab, there is a button that I need to push, and it needs to be on. So you at all times need to be working in this hood. And there's only, the hoods can only have 2 students doing an experiment. So there is a cap for that for safety reason. So this lab has 6 hoods, so we can only have 12 students working at a given time on that. So then another thing that is important, so I already talked about solvents, and then again, flammability, no flames and no fumes, so always in the hood. The other factor that is very important is how we dispose the waste after we do an organic reaction. So when we do that, there would be always in every experiment designated waste containers, so bottles labeled like that. And they might be even more specific. For example, this is for this particular type of solvent, this particular waste. So you need to take time to read about the solvents that you're using and to read the labels of the things that you're using and the labels of the lab waste. And always, if in doubt, ask your instructor how to dispose the particular waste. Okay. Then another thing that we have different in the organic chemistry lab is that students do the lab do their synthesis, but sometimes we are not able to determine melting point or to do the mass of our products. So for that, we have what we call open lab hours. We have posted open lab hours at the beginning of the semesters, but open lab hours are only to be used to come to do mass, so use the scale, or do melting point of your product, or to research in the CRC handbook or the Merck index book. But you must always check in at the stock room when you come in. They need to know that you're here because you cannot be by yourself. And again, the only activities that are allowed in open lab hours is mass, melting point, and do your research in Merck Index and the CRC handbook. So having said all that, the most important things, as in any lab, is to say summarizing. We need to follow the best laboratory practice, all the safety rules. You need to come prepared to the lab. That means we need to read the lab, the experiment that we're doing. We need to know what substances we're using, the properties of the substances. Are they toxic? Are they flammable? so that you work with them taking the appropriate precautions. So this is why I insist that you come prepared to the lab. You need to know all the hazards involved, all the properties of the compounds. Then, very important, wear your PPE, eye protections. The lab coat is recommended, it's not, say, enforced, but I do recommend it. But you need to, again, have your PPE. We have heard it before from my colleague Alpheus, close the shoes, cover yourself. And meanwhile, I hope that you have fun while learning, but keeping safety. Our environment needs to be safe.